Welcome, Dolphins fans, haters, and everyone in between to your favorite show, discussing the greatest franchise in sports, the Miami Dolphins. This is the PhinsPod. My name is Moose, your host, and we have another question and answer episode, ladies and gentlemen. You guys bring the questions as well as topics of conversation for the entirety of the program. And we got some great questions sent in. Thank you all so much. And be sure to follow us over on Instagram at PhinsPod to submit yours for future episodes. For today, however, we're going to be talking AFC East, potential draft day trades, as well as specific scenarios which could befall the Dolphins come April 29th. Let's dive in.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out, too, about Tua Tagovailoa and Najee Harris is they were the closest of friends at Alabama, incredibly close, spent a ton of time together. And I don't think that can be ignored in all this, too, reuniting Tua with people that he feels incredibly comfortable with. And, Dan, let's live in a world where Tua Tagovailoa is the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Where do you have him in that division, Orlovsky?
I would place them second in the division as of today. You know, I think Buffalo is the clear favorite in that division, but because of that defense coming mainly back intact, the development of this offense, again, they're going to add a very big, important piece, likely at 6. And I think Tua is going to take the next step. Finally in offseason, new play callers, a much clearer plan of what Tua is very comfortable with. I still believe that Tua is going to be a very special player because he can do the two things that are always going to be the most important aspects of playing quarterback position. Can you think and can you throw? He does that really well.
Our first question comes from Noah the Football Kid. He asks, how much do you think Parker's production will go down with Fuller leading the wide receivers? Well, Parker finished last season with 63 receptions, 793 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That was a pretty significant drop-off from his great 2019 campaign. And to be completely honest, Noah, I don't think his production is actually going to go down this year. I expect Parker to be near or at 1,000 yards this season, and ideally over 7 touchdowns on the year. And if you think about it, he was Miami's leading receiver for the last few years, and including last year, in terms of how defenses attacked Miami's offense. So all the attention was focused on him. And as you said, Fuller is leading the receiving corps right now, and he's going to be pulling coverage away from Devontae. Specifically, Will Fuller's skill set as a burner and the fact that he can take the top off on any given play will force defenses to respect that and, again, pull coverage a little bit in that direction, not to mention Gesicki improving and becoming better. And if Miami can create some semblance of a run game, that will all help Devontae. And look, Parker's going to be drawing the second string corner now rather than the first. That's going to be new for him. So the addition of Will Fuller could actually be beneficial for Devontae. If his numbers do dip, though, despite that added help around him, then I just don't see how you can justify Parker's salary, and Miami should likely move on from him next offseason or in a trade during the year. But I don't expect that to happen. Devontae has just flashed too much just to simply fade away. He's got plenty left in the tank. And if you remember, he came back to Miami on a lesser deal, and the reason for that was he himself said he didn't like how the first part of his career went. He wanted to prove it to himself, the Dolphins organization, and us Phins fans that he was worth that first-round investment years ago, and he still has a chance to earn that. Our next question is from Granta_Claus. Stat predictions for next year. Team and or players on the roster. All right, let's have a little fun. For the team, my very tentative prediction, and it is subject to change, it's that the Dolphins go 11-6 this year. That sounds so weird. I'm so used to 10-6 or 11-5. But yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to go 11-6 as of right now. I think the roster's improved and is only going to get better after the draft. And Flores has this thing's trajectory going up. One more win is modest, especially when you consider the addition of that 17th game. So for now, I'm going to roll with 11-6. Specifically, player stats for Tua. I'll say Tua throws 29 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, over 4,000 yards passing, and he'll definitely shut up those saying he's trash. He won't be an MVP candidate by any means, but no one's going to be wondering who the Dolphins quarterback will be come next offseason. I don't really want to predict rushing stats because I feel like the room is not quite filled out yet, but I don't foresee any one single player, even if Miami does grab Najee Harris, getting 1,000 yards on the ground. The team will definitely combine for at least 1,000, but I just don't see that all being one guy. Definitely going to be a running back by committee. And at the receiving core, Will Fuller, I got 50 receptions, 680 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Devontae Parker catching 60 passes, so 10 more, for 850 yards and 9 touchdowns with that reduced attention on him, as we spoke earlier. And one more prediction, Mike Gesicki. 65 receptions, 750 yards, 10 touchdowns. Yeah, you heard me, 10. And that'll include a Pro Bowl berth as well. Question number 3. James Soriano 99 asks, is it likely that Miami could win the East this year? Possibly? Yeah. Likely? I wouldn't say that. And the reason, the Buffalo Bills are not going to be significantly worse. They brought everyone important back, and as of right now, they've shown that they kind of own the Dolphins. I can't say that Miami's going to overtake them before we see some evidence of that with our own eyes. So the Bills are still the front runners right now, up until week 2 or 3 whenever we face them and knock them off. And if Josh Allen doesn't regress, then they should be a 13-15 win team this year, and that's a tough ask for Miami. And despite all the hype surrounding New England, I don't see them being better than us. Maybe a game or two back at best, 9 or 10 wins. And despite that improved roster, I just don't see them winning the division with Cam Newton at quarterback. And then, of course, the Jets are just irrelevant to this conversation. Question number 4 from Giancarlo_04. If you're Greer and Jalen Phillips, Najee Harris, Micah Parsons, and Christian Darrisaw are all at 18, who are you taking? That one's easy, man. Micah Parsons. Check out the latest mock draft to see exactly why I think he's such a good fit for Miami. We go into more detail. Some of you were not happy with that pick, but those other players you mentioned at 18, although extremely talented and they could all help Miami, none of them have the potential of impacting Miami for the next decade in the way that Micah Parsons does. He's a modern-day NFL linebacker, and we're missing that. Yeah, Jerome Baker is good, but he is not great, and he's limited physically to ever become a block-shedding force on the inside, stuffing up run plays. That's not what he's going to be. He can do a lot. He can blitz for you, but Parsons can become that guy who you leave on the field in every situation, and I think that's something you can't pass up. I highly doubt he's at 18, but if he's there, fully expect the Dolphins to run to the podium. That's a great question. Question number 5 from the OST Dan. What can we expect from Tua in year 2? Well, Dan, I'll tell you exactly what I expect. Significant growth. That means he needs to look bigger physically and be able to take some hits, that looked rough on him last season. He's on his way to doing that, so check. He's looking bigger. He's in the lab, as we've talked about. His lower half is definitely going to be thicker too, so he'll be able to absorb some of that contact a little bit better than his rookie year. Next, I want to see him take a step as a leader, more ownership in press conferences, holding himself and his teammates accountable. He's no longer a rookie, and we need to see him take charge. Show emotion and frustration on the sideline. Take the reins of this franchise. We far too many times saw a very docile Ryan Tannehill, and so many times you wanted to see some emotion, and I think we kind of know that that's needed from that quarterback, that it factor. And Tua had flashes of a lot of energy, but you hope another year in, another year of ownership, that takes another step. And now onto the field, what we want to see, what we should see, it's simple. I want to see his internal processing speed go up. That is the name of his game, and when he knows where he wants to go with the ball, that's when he's deadly. So what can we expect? A more confident quarterback adjusting plays at the line to put his team in the best position to succeed. I want to see aggressive throws downfield set up by solid to great play design, as well as some improv, some general playmaking ability. Once he gets the basics down and is comfortable in the offense, he can start ad-libbing and doing what made him special at Alabama. And this leads perfectly into our next question from KDay27. Looking back, do you wish we took Herbert at 5 last year? And in a vacuum, if last season was the only football ever, and I'm basing it all on that, then yes, Herbert came in more physically prepared, and he had a better year. But for the future, no. I'm feeling okay where we are. And why am I so confident? Well, as we talked about in the last question, Tua has a very specific skill set. He's a cerebral player who's trying to play chess while the defense plays checkers around him. He prided himself on diagnosing defenses, determining his protection, and making the right read post-snap. So all of that means is that Tua needs more reps, game reps. Not to mention his injury, so while he was getting those reps last year, he was also equally trying to get comfortable back in his body, being under center. Oh yeah, also being chased by far better athletes than what he was being chased by in the SEC. Also, they're 300 pounds. As he gets more and more comfortable, though, and builds that chemistry with his weapons and gets an offense which is actually catered to his strengths and his preferences, then yeah, I do expect us to see a player that many of us thought we would see in his rookie year. A confident, deadly accurate, precise assassin. marching the team up and down the field with either efficient and heady football with long sustained drives, simply with a big play dialed up based on the defensive alignment. Tua should be able to take those shots. I just expect him to develop into the baller that he showed himself to be throughout college, with different weapons around him, a different offensive scheme, and a new coordinator, as well as a higher level of competition. He can show his true capabilities. Herbert, despite his great stats and fun plays to some great weapons, he proved to be exactly what he was at Oregon. He rarely was able to put the team on his back and lead them to victory, which, yes, is a lot to ask of a rookie quarterback, but for some reason everyone asked that of Tua, so why wasn't Herbert able to win? It was something he struggled to do in college and something that I expect him to struggle with throughout his career. All the talent in the world, absolutely, but does he have that it factor, the thing that wins championships? I mean, I'm sorry, but Tom Brady is not the physical specimen that Justin Herbert is. But Tom Brady's a winner. There's something extra. And that, for Herbert, I'm just not sold on. I know Tua has that, the it factor, and it's exactly why Brian Flores identified him and was sold on him over Justin Herbert. Before the Dolphins even took Tua, they asked Brian Flores what he wanted in an ideal quarterback. He described the it factor. And if Miami took him, then listen, I'm comfortable. I'm feeling okay that I'm on the side that has Brian Flores on it. Just saying. So you can ask me again next year. But for now, April 19, 2020, I am very comfortable with the Dolphins quarterback situation. Question number 7. Foxcloud asks, trade down scenarios at 18 to pick up more picks. Who can we do that with and what can we get? Great question, Foxcloud. So, after Miami at 18, there are only a few teams that I could see as potential trade-up partners. Indianapolis at pick 21, the Titans at pick 22, Steelers at pick 24, and the Browns at pick 26. According to the draft value chart, the Dolphins at pick 18 hold a value of 900 points. So, taking that into account, what type of deal can we make? So, for the Colts, the trade-up would make sense if they have their eyes on a specific weapon to help Carson Wentz. You know, T.Y. Hilton is aging, and yeah, they do have Pittman and Taylor, so some good young weapons, but they definitely need more around. So if they wanted to move up and get a Rashad Bateman, or if they want to jump the Bears and provide protection for Carson Wentz, then they might want to jump the Bears, who have the 20th pick, to nab their offensive tackle of choice. Their pick at pick 21 is valued at 800, so they only need 100 points to make up the difference. The problem here is that the Colts don't have a ton of picks in this year's draft, and they don't have any enticing combinations that would make sense for us, or frankly the Colts themselves. They'd just be giving up a lot of their very few remaining picks in the short term. So I would expect, if a deal were to take place between these two, the Colts to send a future pick, move back from 18 to 21 for Miami, just 3 spots, and potentially acquire a 2022 third-round pick from Indy. Not bad, especially if the guy you end up getting at 21 was likely going to be the same guy you were going to take at 18. The Titans, they need help on the back end of their defense as well as on the defensive line, not to mention the loss of Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith. So they too could make a move for a multitude of players who they might worry could be taken by Miami, Washington, or even Indianapolis. Again, Miami's pick is valued at 900 points. The 22nd pick, which the Titans hold, is worth 780. So rather than 100, that's a 120-point difference. They could give us their third-round pick 85, which is worth 165 points, so a bit more. And Miami would likely take that, but considering the Titans' overall needs, I don't see them giving that away. Instead, they too may want to give Miami a future third-round pick. That would be beneficial for us. It allows us to get a high-quality pick for just going back, 4 or 5 spots, and it makes sense for the Titans. They give away an asset in the future to help them now. Moving on to the Steelers at pick number 24, they have a variety of needs from running back to the offensive line, and they could use some help to support Roethlisberger on his last legs. Like I said, they hold pick 24, which is worth 740 points. That's a 160-point differential. So in this case, I could see Miami dropping 6 spots in exchange for the Steelers' third-round pick this season, worth 155 points, as well as a future 6th or 7th to help sweeten the deal and take it over the top, get it over that 160-point mark. And look, Miami could use that pick and find a contributor with the Steelers' third-round pick, which is 87th overall. So I wouldn't be opposed if Miami dropped 6 spots and picked up the 87th overall pick and nabbed a potential starter. And last here, we have the Browns. Just a couple spots further back at pick 26. The Browns, this could be the most enticing offer because they have a lot to give. They could move up to help address their defense, and that's clearly the area of need for them at this point. If a corner slips who they really like, they may just want to move up and ensure they can grab him because they do need help at the corner spot. The 26th pick holds a value of 700 points, a whole 200 less than Miami's at 18. So to make that up, Miami could move back to 26 and also gain one of the Browns' 2 third-round picks this season. So let's take the later one, let's say pick 91, worth 136 points. And now throw in their 4th-round pick, 110 points, or at pick 110, worth 74 points. So it's just a shade over 200 if you combine 136, 74, I believe it's 210. But considering Miami's a team moving back, it would make sense for the Browns to incentivize Miami. So there, Miami would acquire a 3rd-round pick at pick 91, as well as their 4th-round pick at pick 110. So 2 mid-round picks where you can find valuable players just to move back 8 spots. And Miami would leave with those assets probably very happy, considering they don't have a lot of mid-round assets. And like I said, there are these other teams further down the draft board that could be potential trade-up partners, but I just don't expect them to jump up unless someone very talented falls. And in that case, if someone very talented falls, why shouldn't Miami just take them at 18, right? Is it worth grabbing pick 100 and 110 if you can get a significantly better player? The only other way one of those further back teams do trade up is for a quarterback, and Trey Lance won't be falling this far either, so I don't really see a trade up from New Orleans in this situation. Question number 8 from Lombellod. If Pitts, Sewell, and Chase are already taken by pick 6, do the Dolphins trade back? Like we've said on the show for a few weeks now, the Phins traded up from 12 with a plan in mind. That plan either includes a specific player, and if he's still on the board, say Devonta Smith, then they're going to take him regardless because that's who they moved up for. But in the scenario you've just laid out, none of the blue chip, quote-unquote blue chip players are available. Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts. None of them are left. That means that they were taken ahead and a quarterback has slipped. Only 2 would be taken in this case because Miami has a 6th pick and those 3 guys are non-quarterbacks. So only 2 quarterbacks were taken and some combination of Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Mac Jones remain. 2 of those 3. So I don't know why I included the latter, to be honest, Mac Jones, but I guess Adam Schefter is convinced that he belongs in the same conversation. But in that case, yeah, I would foresee Miami trading out because some team behind them, be it the Broncos, the Vikings, or hell, even the Bears, may come calling with a sweet, sweet deal, and then Miami could get future firsts in that situation and really parlay that 6th pick into something more and still nab a Rashad Bateman or something like that later on in the draft. A_Brownie asks, who will be a bigger contributor to the offense? Will Fuller or Pitts/Chase/Smith, whoever they do end up drafting? And if Miami selects the tight end, Kyle Pitts, then I actually expect Will Fuller to have a better season, simply because he's going to be targeted more as an outside guy, and Pitts will still have to work with Gesicki and compete for snaps there. He's going to contribute in other ways, Kyle Pitts. Keep that in mind. In the red zone, blocking in the run game, or just simply being used as a decoy, Pitts is still going to be used, but his production is likely to be less than Fuller. If, however, Miami nabs Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith, then I think they both will be used in the slot and will not see the opposing defense's top cover corner, just like Will Fuller will. Instead, they'll work the middle and underneath, allowing them to haul in a lot of short to intermediate passes. And for that reason, I feel like a first-round receiver would produce more than Will Fuller, simply because of their role in the offense. But Fuller should outperform a rookie tight end. And we're going to wrap up this question and answer show, not with a question, but a comment from Constantine CMF. He says, you need to know Germany is listening and you're doing a great job. Keep going. Just want to say thank you so much, Constantine. That means a ton. And the fact that we have members of the pod rocking in Germany is frankly mind-blowing. That's awesome. And thanks. Or should I say, danke schön. I think that's thank you. I looked it up in German. Danke schön. Appreciate all of you guys listening and making the pod grow each and every week. Thank you all so much.
Going in motion with him, man-to-man.
Here comes the pressure again, and that pass is picked off. Or did Howard hang on? He did. All he does is pick off passes. Xavien Howard.
Indeed, there's a pass. Intercepted on the play. It's picked off. Howard's got it. They're trying to bring him down. Backpedaling. He's done it again. Xavien Howard. Interception number 6.
Those big chunk plays that they really needed to take off in this ballgame.
Darnold's pass is picked off. Xavien Howard does it again. His 7th of the season. He leads the NFL. Allen looking deep again down the field. And Xavien Howard does it again. His 8th interception this season.
There's a toss.
intercepted again. Howard has one. My gosh, Xavien Howard has now picked off a pass in 5 consecutive games.
Left tackle down. Intercepted. Picked off by Howard, number 10. This may be the defensive player of the year in the NFL, and corkscrews down.
That's going to do it for us here today. Thank you all so much for listening to the PhinsPod. Hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like the video if you enjoyed the show and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, just so you never miss a chance to chat about your Miami Dolphins. Remember that the PhinsPod is available on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, and of course, YouTube. Continue the conversation with us over on Twitter and Instagram at PhinsPod, and check out the site for news and content, phinspod.com. I hope you have an amazing day, and until next time, stay safe. Love y'all.